The kingdom of my divine will in the midst of creatures. Book of Heaven, Volume 32, Part 5. May 7th, 1933. The will, symbolized by the blowing of the breath, which either ignites or extinguishes. The divine will, offerer of its acts in the act of the creature. My abandonment in the divine volition continues, and my poor mind many times is under the empire of two currents. That is, the great good of the divine will, which elevates the soul over everything, and carries her up even into the arms of her dear celestial Father, where everything is joy, feast, and divine smiles, such that inebriated, the soul forgets everything, the earth, the miseries. Because in the divine will one can have not even the memory of evil. Otherwise the happiness would no longer be full. And in the other current, the abyss of the human will, which casts the soul into all miseries, and brings her almost into the arms of the devil, that he may tyrannize her as he pleases. But while I was thinking of this, my sovereign Jesus, making himself felt close to me, told me, "My blessed daughter, as the soul enters into my volition, with its empire, it says to her, 'Forget everything, even the home of your Mother Earth. Here one lives of heaven, nor is there any room for miseries and for unhappinesses. My light destroys everything, and it transforms evils into good.' You must know that the will is symbolized by the blowing of the breath, which has the virtue of igniting and of extinguishing. If the will is for igniting, by blowing over a little spark, it can ignite a great fire. If then it is for extinguishing the spark, by blowing over it, it takes life away from it and reduces it to ashes. Such is the human will. If it wants mine, it blows in all its acts, and mine animates this blowing with its power, and its little acts, like little sparks, change into flames. And as it repeats the acts, so is the blowing repeated, in such a way that the whole creature turns into a flame of light of divine will. On the other hand, if she wants to do her will, as she does it, she blows and extinguishes everything, and is left in a deep night, with not even the good of the little sparks. So one who lives in my will acquires the light by nature, and in all her acts she sees light, and they speak to her of light. On the other hand, one who does her own acquires darkness and night by nature, and darkness is unleashed from all of her acts, which speak to her of miseries, of fears, of worries, that render life unbearable. Then my mind continued to think about the divine will, and I felt it inside and outside of me, all attention, so much so that it wanted to give me everything and do everything together with me. And my sweet Jesus added, "Little daughter of my will, You must know that as the soul decides to live in my will, its love toward her is so great that as she is about to take one step, my fiat offers its own in that act, in such a way that the human will remains as the field, and my act as the life. So, as she palpitates, it offers its divine heartbeat. As she breathes, it offers its breath. As she is about to speak, it offers its word in the voice of the creature. As she thinks, it offers its thought. And in the same way, if she operates, if she walks, it offers its motion and its steps. So, my divine will is the offer of its acts in the acts of the creature. Here, then, its incessant love, its tireless attentions, because it wants to form the whole of its life as much as it is possible for a creature. In her, it wants to find its sanctity, its heartbeat, its breath, its word, and so forth. And how can it find it if it does not give it and offer it continuously? Therefore, there is such identification between the divine will and the creature who wants to live in it, that they become inseparable from each other. Nor would my will tolerate the slightest separation in one who offers herself to let it form its life. So be attentive, and let your flight in my divine will be continuous. Fiat. May 14th, 1933. Little place of love that the soul holds within her Creator, and little place that God holds in the soul. How sanctity is formed by degrees of love. Seed sown by Jesus. How he first does deeds and then words. I felt all immersed in the supreme fiat, and repeating my round in it, as I united myself to its acts, so I felt its waves of love coming to me, which pouring upon me brought me the love of my Creator. Oh, how happy I felt in feeling loved by God! I believe that there is no greater happiness, either in heaven or on earth, than for the creature to occupy a place in the bosom of the Celestial Father, who makes his waves of love arise, to love her. But while I felt I was under these waves, my sweet Jesus, visiting my little soul, all goodness, told me, "My blessed daughter, going around in our acts, which we did both in creation and in redemption, for love of creatures, makes new love arise from within our divine being, and invests the one who unites with our divine acts. By uniting herself with our works, she prepares the little place in which to receive our waves of love, and as she receives them, she too loves us with new love, and forms her waves of love for her Creator in such a way that she holds her little place of love in our divine being, and we hold our place in the creature. You must know that true sanctity is formed by the degrees of love with which you are loved by God, and it is then that this love takes possession, when the creature loves. When she receives his divine love, and she loves, God disposes himself to love her more with new love. To be loved by God with new love is the greatest act that God does toward the creature, and all the sanctity, the glory, is constituted for as many times as she has been loved by God, and for as many times as she has loved him. In fact, you must know that our Supreme Being loves all, and always in a universal and general way. To this he adds a special and direct love toward the one who, as we love her, gives us her love. So, if the creature has been loved by God with special love once, 3 times, 10, or 100 times, according to that number, so many degrees of sanctity, and therefore of glory, does she acquire. See then, going around in our will, uniting yourself to its acts, calls us to love you with special and new love, and God calls you in order to be loved with your new and special love. And God himself shall be your witness, who will say to all, to heaven and to the earth, "It is true, I have loved her, but she has loved me. I can say that my love called hers, and hers called mine, to love each other." Therefore, one who lives in our will secures our love, nor do we have the sorrow that it might be rejected. On the contrary, as the sign that she has received it, she responds by giving us her love. Then I was thinking about the divine will, and 1,000 thoughts crowded my mind with doubts, with yearnings, with certainties, with longings for wanting the divine will as primary life of my life. I wanted its sweet empire inside and outside of me. Now, while I was doing this, the ever lovable Jesus added, "My little daughter of my will, you must know that when I manifest a good, a truth, it is the surest sign that I want to give that good, or the gift of a truth of mine, as property of the creature. If it were not so, I would be deceiving her, enticing her, making her waste time with 1,000 of useless desires, without the possession of the good that I made known to her. I am incapable of deceiving anyone, or of doing useless things. On the contrary, first, I decide to give that good, and then I manifest the nature of that good. And while I manifest it, I already place the seed in the depth of the soul, that she may begin to feel the beginning of the new life of the good that I made known to her. And the continuation of my manifestations that I make known to her serves to make the seed germinate, to asperse it and water it, in order to form the whole of the life of the gift I want to give her. And the sign that the soul has accepted and welcomed the new life of the gift I want to give her is the fact that I continue to manifest the different qualities, the beautiful prerogatives, the immense value that my gift possesses. And after I have made sure that she already possesses, in its entirety, the life of the gift that I wanted to give her. Then do I make known to her my aims, the crafting I have performed in her, and the gift which she already possesses. My wisdom is infinite. My industries of love are innumerable. First, I do deeds, and then words, which serve to instruct the creature on how to receive, preserve, and make use of the good that I have given and made known to her. To give a good without making it known is like wanting to give food to the dead. And I have never had anything to do with the dead, but with the living. To make it known without giving it would be a mockery, nor would it be the custom of our divine nature. So, if I have manifested to you so many truths on my divine will, it is because I want to give you the gift of its life operating in you. If it were not so, I would never have spoken to you so much. My mere speaking is messenger and bearer and depository of the great gift of my divine will, not only for you, but for the whole entire world. Therefore, be attentive, so that my seed may be pulverized in you to the point of changing into your nature, and then shall you experience, with facts, the reigning of my will in your soul. In fact, did I not do the same with my celestial mother? First I formed her, I prepared her, I endowed her, I prepared the place, I extended my heaven in the depth of her soul. I made known to her many things, and as I made them known to her, so did I give them to her as gift. I could say that we, mother and son, first did the deeds, and when nothing was lacking to my sanctity, to my divine decorum, to the new heaven that was coming to dwell upon earth, then did I manifest to her the secret that I had already chosen her as my mother. And as I manifested the secret, so did she feel herself the mother of her Creator. See then the necessity of manifesting what I want to do with the creature, so that God and the creature may want the same thing, and the necessity for my very incarnation to take place, not before, but in the very act in which she learned that I already wanted her as my mother, and she accepted to be so. Therefore, it takes great attention when I make known a good that I want to give to the creature. She does not know where my aims are heading to. I do not make everything known at the beginning, but I proceed gradually, manifesting and operating in order to get there where I want. And if she is not attentive and does not follow me, it can happen that she might remain half of the way, and I shall have the sorrow of not being able to give my gifts, and of not being able to fulfill my designs. Fiat. May 25th, 1933. How the Divine Will is Permanent Miracle. One who lives in it is the bearer of the divine works, and her fields are the creation and the redemption. I am always around the supreme Fiat, its sweet empire, its powerful attractions, its kiss of light, with which it comes to meet all my acts, to deposit in them and enclose itself inside, in order to form its life, is the sweetest enchantment for my little soul. And amid wonderment and stupefaction, I exclaim, "O divine will, how much you love me, to the point of lowering yourself into my little act, to enclose in it your operating life!" But while my mind was wandering within it, my sweet Jesus, who also enjoyed the charm and the admirable ways of his volition, all tenderness and goodness, told me, "Dearest daughter of my divine will, my divine volition is, of its own, a continuous miracle. To descend into the lowliness of the act of the creature, in order to form in it its act, its life, is the greatest of miracles, which no one is given the ability to perform. Its investing virtue penetrates everywhere. With its kiss of light, it captivates the act of the creature. It moves it, transforms it, conforms it, and with its miraculous virtue, it forms its act in that of the creature. And this without destroying that of the creature. On the contrary, it makes use of it as the space in which to implant its act, and it uses it as the void in which to form its life, so much so that on the outside one can see the human act, while inside appear the wonders, the sanctity, the great miracle of the divine act. So one who does my will and lives in it has no need of miracles. She lives under the reign of the miracles of my volition, and possesses within herself the font, the source, which transforms the creature into the miraculous virtue of my divine will, in such a way that in her appear the miracle of invincible patience, the miracle of perennial love toward God, the miracle of continuous prayer without ever tiring. And if pains appear, they are miracles of conquests, of triumphs, of glory, which it encloses in her pains. For one who lives in my will, it wants to give to the soul the miracle of divine heroism, and in the pains it puts the weight and the infinite value. It puts the imprint, the seal of the pains of your Jesus. You must know, my daughter, that our love toward one who lives in the divine will is so great that we give her the gift of everything we did in creation and redemption, and she makes all that is ours her own. And because it is hers and ours, and she seeks the divine will as though naturally in all her acts, she finds herself now in the heavens, in the sun, in the sea, and so forth. She feels within herself all the sanctity of our works, which are also hers, and feeling identified with them, she comprehends what it means to have a heaven always stretched out, a sun that always gives light, a sea that constantly murmurs, a wind that with its waves brings to all the caresses of its creator. And she feels herself heaven, stars, sun, sea, wind, and oh, how she loves us. And with the enrapturing force of her love, which is our love, she comes to place everything before our divine throne. And oh, how enraptured we feel by her notes and currents of love that she forms. We can say that if we keep this creature on earth, we keep her to let her be the bearer of our works. We spread them in the creation, and it seems like she gathers them for us, to come to tell us how much you have loved me, and how much she loves us. But she is yet more beautiful when she passes into the kingdom of my acts in redemption. With how much love does she move from one act to the other? How she kisses them, embraces them, adores them, thanks them, and closes them in her heart. And all love says to me, Jesus, your life on earth ended, leaving your works, your words, your pains. Now it is my turn to continue your life. Therefore everything you did must serve for my life. Otherwise I cannot make of myself another Jesus. If you do not give me everything, I can neither form nor continue your life upon earth. And I, all love, say to her, my daughter, everything is yours. Take of me whatever you want. Even more. The more you take, the more content I will be, and the more I will love you. But what is most beautiful about this happy creature is that, while she wants everything and takes everything, she feels that she cannot contain what she has received. She comes to her Jesus, pours herself completely into me, also her littleness, her little will, and oh, how happy I am. I can say that these are continuous exchanges of life that we make, I to her, and she to me. The strength of the union with one who lives in our will, between she and we, is so great that neither can we put her aside in all our works, nor can she remain apart. If this could be, it would happen as if one wanted to divide the light of the sun in two. But it is impossible to divide the unity of its light, and if anyone tried to do it, he would be left confounded. And the light, with the strength of its unity, would laugh at him. Or it would be like wanting to split the heavens, separate the might of the wind, the unity of the air. All impossible things, because the whole of their life, the strength that they possess, is in the unity. Such is the condition in which one who lives in our will finds herself. The whole of her strength, her prerogative, her beauty, her sanctity, is in the one force and unity with her Creator. Therefore, be attentive, and let your life be in us, with us, and with our works. Fiat. You have reached the end of the Book of Heaven, Volume 32, Part 5. Fiat.